to Loreology. Sure, other courses might teach you about stuff like biology or geometry, but here we talk about equally important things. Things like space clowns, weapons-grade kink-shaming, and the worst possible hangover in the universe. With me, as always, are my students, Seth and Brady. Say hi, boys.
Hi, boys.
Now, before I start today's lesson, I have to ask, have you boys ever partied a little too hard? Maybe you did something you regretted?
I remember a certain Oktoberfest ending in a porta potty.
Ooh.
I'm glad you remember.
Well, today I'll be teaching you boys about the Eldari, a people undone by the universe's worst hangover.
I've never drank so much I killed a bunch of other people.
While our planet was still ruled by dinosaurs, the Eldari had already become a spacefaring civilization thanks to the guiding hand of the Old Ones, a race of ancient psychic space frogs. But after the apocalyptic war with a race of technologically advanced skeleton robots called the Necrons, the Old Ones vanished and the Necrons went into hibernation. The Old Ones also left behind a series of stable, interdimensional tunnels called the Webway. Using the Webway, the Eldari could get anywhere they needed in a matter of seconds, and with the help of an organic, psychically reactive material they developed called Wraithbone, they could create vast structures, weapons, and new technology, just by singing the material into the right shape. These two things meant the Eldari lived in a post-scarcity society. Anyone could get anything at any time.
I wish I could just sing a little ditty and like get whatever I wanted, like boop 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 boop, and I'd have like the best food.
I would like an extra double hoagie with no onions.
With a sandwich.
Yeah.
So, the galaxy is reeling from a devastating war. Planets have been scarred, civilizations wiped out, and those few people who survived the devastation now teeter on the razor's edge of extinction. Except for the Eldari, who have all the technology and resources ever. Now, did they use this almost godlike power to, I don't know, rebuild, maybe create a kinder galaxy than the one you found? Nah! Who wants to do that when they can just host the galaxy's biggest rave?
Millions, billions of destitute people. Throw a cool party.
Well, are the destitute people invited? Because if so, that's community service right
Come
there.
on over, take a load off. You've had it real shit the last little while, so come on into our party.
With the external world pretty much on lockdown, Eldari everywhere looked inward and sought to explore new sensations. It started off small with stuff like fine wine, rich meals, and beautiful art, but after a few million years of that, they started to get jaded. Champagne and caviar wasn't enough, they wanted more. So, they delved deeper and deeper, searching constantly for ever more sensations and experiences. Tired of the 24-hour dubstep and the overpowering stench of Astroglide, many Eldari left their homeworlds. Some heeded the teachings of their god Asurion, who preached balance and control. These Eldari called themselves the Asuriani and fled the territory in colony ships called craft worlds. Meanwhile, another group called the Exodites fled to the edge of known space, seeking lives of solitude on primordial worlds. Also, they rode dinosaurs, which is awesome.
See, now I can't help but see like a giant velociraptor just running through space like but
Size of the planet.
I know, right?
These Eldari are they're like those fucked up sociopaths that just can't get enough of the high of something.
Yeah, they're
or
just
something.
constantly upping the dosage of
Yeah.
their weird drugs.
So yeah, the craft worlds went hard on partying, while the Asuriani and the Exodites kinda got tired of that and all just left. But with all those nerds and their constant babbling about moderation and empathy gone, the Eldari spent the next 1,000 years finding all the drugs and slaves they could get. Now, why would a post-scarcity society need slaves? Well, who else was gonna fight to the death for their amusement? And who else were you gonna slice up thin like sashimi and serve on the naked body of their own freshly skinned dad? The Eldari had built an empire on the suffering of others, with entire industries dedicated to practices so horrible that even mentioning them could get us demonetized. And then, one day, in the 30,000th millennium, everything changed.
Yeah, they just delight in inflicting pain and torture because that's it's a society of fucking full-blown psychopaths. Any and all sympathy I had for these fuckheads is totally gone. I'm like, fuck you, I hope you all die.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Imperium of Man, my dude. That's kind of their whole attitude. Fuck off, space elves can die. That's kind of their whole... That's on their title card. Let's look at the warp. The warp is a dimension of pure thought. It's a place that both shapes and is shaped by our souls, our emotions, and our actions. And for eons, the Eldari had plundered worlds, slaughtered the innocent, and feasted on their pain. Their potent psychic natures seeded the warp with terrible desires, and one day, every Eldari, whether Exodite, Asuryani, or Homeworld, felt something clawing at their souls. A new god was born, a god of infinite pleasure and endless pain, Slaanesh, aka She Who Thirsts, chaos god of obsession and excess.
They did it to themselves, these fucking assholes! Oh, I hope all their souls get eaten.
That makes sense now.
God.
I was, because we talked about this earlier, and I was like, why are
they all their souls getting devoured?
Why are they getting bullied by this
Why
god?
are they getting bullied? They literally created her through their own twisted... Oh, fuck these guys, man.
Yeah, so I don't know how much you know about, like, the Warhammer thing. Thought imbues some sort of, like,
well, and that's
reaction.
really cool. See, and that's like, so that's also a thing in like D&D. The way you become a god is that enough people believe you are a god. So like through worship, like the more a god is worshipped, the more their power grows.
Now, the Eldari were no stranger to making gods. They had a whole pantheon of the dang things. Isha, Vol, Cain, Loic, Kurnos, Lilith, and many more. All led by one god. Osirian the Phoenix King. Surely, this heroic god of discipline and duty could defeat this vile demon. Osirian squared off with the hateful beast, raised his blade, and was immediately killed.
Oh.
Get fucked.
Soon after, Slaanesh started massacring the rest of the Pantheon. The only survivors were Cain, god of war, Kegarak, clown god of trickery, and Isha, goddess of healing. These three gods managed to split before Slaanesh could get their claws on them. But that wasn't even the worst of it, though. It used to be that the souls of the Eldari might fade into the warp for a time before reincarnating. But now, Slaanesh had marked the souls of their entire species. The instant an Eldari died, their soul would be devoured by Slaanesh, ensuring them an eternal agony. What's more, the birth of Slaanesh had awoken other dark gods, slumbering in the darkest pits of the recesses of sentient thought. Khorne, god of rage and bloodshed, marshaled his forces, while Tzeentch, god of deception, plotted his rise to supremacy. Meanwhile, Nurgle, god of disease and decay, stole Isha and locked her in a cage within his rotting garden, where she languishes to this day. And to make matters somehow even more worse, the birth of Slaanesh caused a rip in reality called the Eye of Terror. From this gaping wound in existence, demons could freely manifest. Now, if any of this sounds familiar, this event also is what led to the warp storms that cut humanity off from Earth and kicked off the Age of Strife.
So the elves literally created Slaanesh, who gave rise to the other three gods of chaos, who gave rise to the Eye of Terror, and that's why all the demons come. You goddamn elves let in the goddamn demons.
They basically woke up the other gods. The other gods had been sleeping up until Slaanesh kicked in. The resulting chaos devastated the Eldari population and fragmented the people even further. From the horror of Slaanesh's birth, millions of Eldari died, rendering the species all but extinct. But from that cataclysm, 5 factions were born. First was the Asuryani. They'd long since given up the chaotic, murderous decadence of the homeworlds, but the threat of being devoured by Slaanesh only drove them further into their regiments of rigid control. Each Asuryani safeguards their souls with a soul stone, a precious gem which would safely store their souls upon death, keeping it out of Slaanesh's clutches. The Asuryani are a mysterious and reclusive people who seem to be trying to make up for the horrors they've inflicted on the universe, while also ensuring their species' survival.
It's like your cousin fucked up the world,
You're like,
you know,
"Oh,
and you're like, God damn it, Dale.
Now I gotta go home.
Then there's the Harlequins, a load of tricked-out space juggalos that worship Kegarak, the god of mirth, trickery, and entertainment. These murder clowns treat the battlefield as a theater, each soldier playing a character and adopting their persona and fighting style. Harlequins seem to be one of the more eager factions to help humanity out, foreseeing their place in an apocalyptic scenario they call Ranadandra. They also safeguard a mysterious archive called the Black Library, where it is said that all sorts of strange and forbidden knowledge is recorded and stored.
So hang on. Tricked out space juggalo clown worshipping idiots guard all the knowledge of the universe? That seems like a woeful misplaced trust.
Yeah.
They're not idiots. They're more just like murderous theater kids.
So they're just theater kids.
As a theater kid, absolutely. Then we have the Ynnari. A more recently established order, the Ynnari seek to safeguard the souls of dead Eldari by building a new god, the Ennead. The Ennead would serve a role similar to Hades in Greek mythology, someone who could safeguard the souls of the dead and keep Slaanesh's greasy fingers out of their karmic cookie jar. The Ynnari were also known to help humanity on occasion, even going so far as to resurrect the Primarch Rabute Gilliman from his stasis. The Ynnari also serve as a bridge, converting both Asuryani and the mysterious Drukhari for their cause. What nice folks! And then there's the Exodites, still hiding in their maiden worlds, though very little is known about them other than that they ride dinosaurs and are painfully underused by Games Workshop. Seriously, how hard is it to sell minis of space elves riding friggin' dinosaurs?
It's too bad.
I know, right? I would love to see a space elf on a velociraptor.
I know.
Also a space dinosaur.
Last and certainly not least are the Drukhari. Calling themselves the Trueborn, the Drukhari are what remains of the old empire, and they were founded by those who weren't willing to give up their lifestyle of continuous murder parties. These Dark Eldari hide from Slaanesh's gaze in the Webway. Using the dimension's wonky physics, they built an infinite city called Kumarak, where they were free to continue their horrible torture parties to this day. In fact, the only time they're spotted in our dimension is when they attack worlds to stock up on fresh slaves and 12 packs of White Claw.
Okay, fuck them in particular.
Yeah.
Because, like, they're not... It's like they know they did it,
Yeah.
and they don't give a shit.
Those people are probably having the time of their lives.
Yeah, with slaves, White Claws, and torture parties.
Now, the Eldari serve as a vital lesson in Warhammer 40k. They deafened themselves to the humanity of others, and in doing so, they turned themselves into cruel, self-serving creatures. Their insistence on profiting on the misery of others came at the literal cost of their souls, and now, even generations later, they find themselves paying for the debts of those who came before them, while desperate clingers-on seek to maintain an untenable lifestyle, refusing to adjust to the world that's changing around them. Can the Eldari save their dying people and undo the damage their forefathers inflicted? Can they right such a horrible wrong? Only time will tell. But I'm afraid that's all the time we have for today's lesson.
I learned a lot today.
I did too. I learned that space elves are dicks. I learned that 40k is even more awesome than I thought it was. Yep. I learned that apparently Brady and I are team space juggalos.
Yes.
And the Drukhari can suck a whole universe-sized bag of dicks.
Yes, I agree on everything that he just said, and, you know, to further what he said, yeah, Drukhari forever, you know?
They lured him over with the White Claws, we're doomed!
Yeah, once I knew that they had White Claws.
Yeah, that's right. They're like, oh, come to this side, we party, man.
But before we depart, if you're going to take any lesson from this lecture, let it be this. Friends don't let friends create horny murder gods. Class dismissed!